Hello and welcome to this week's edition of VR Vertigo. So, Destiny 2 is dead. However, Bungie will make sure the game is still in a playable state, but there won't be any further expansions, etc., etc. Marathon is on life support. The decision Sony is making currently, in view of the large losses it's had and the bad decisions that it's made with regards to buying certain things, at this point, what constitutes a good decision? It's decided to throw all its resources behind Marathon, a game, as I've said, that's on life support. Somehow, Sony hoped to resuscitate this game. And one has to ask oneself at this point, how the fuck are they going to do that? No, I hear you cry, Mark, this is a VR channel. It is a VR channel. I posited some time ago that maybe had Sony decided to develop the game in a hybrid fashion, both for flat screen and for VR, this would have made its launch a much more palatable affair, a much more accessible affair, would have given it greater legs. And not only that, in terms of the innovation that would have been attached to a AAA game being developed, pretty much the first one, I think, being developed for flat screen and VR, had it happened, would have put the game in an almost unassailable position. In helping VR to become more mainstream, Marathon the game would have had a slightly larger player base, but more importantly, a very vocal player base, a very passionate player base. Would that have been enough to save it? It's really difficult to say. Probably not. But looking at what Sony are currently faced with, having Marathon as a hybrid game with a very eager VR player base would certainly have made some difference. Additionally, we're looking at the imminent release of the Steam machine. Sadly, it's Bradley and other outlets have reported that there are other units being shipped, that the units are being inspected for compliance in various territories, and that, to all intents and purposes at this point, we won't have much longer to wait. But how much will the Steam machine cost? I've gone on about this previously, and I think that effectively it could be about $1,000. Market conditions being the final arbiter of what the thing sells for. Traditionally, consoles have sold at a loss. But can the Steam machine do that? This entire Steam lineup from Valve is breaking the mold. It's never been done before. A suite of kit, which includes a controller, a console PC type thing, and a VR headset. As such, will the Steam machine come in at $1,500? Or will they have played a blinder? Will Valve be selling this at a loss? Will it come in at anywhere between $500, $600, $700? As expensive as that sounds, it's still a winner. Valve have made it clear this isn't a console. They're saying it's more of a PC. And as such, surely this will be reflected in the price. But the real story here is leverage. Yep, you didn't see that one coming, did you? Leverage. Consider what Valve have done with the Steam frame. It's recognized that there's a small but rapidly growing passionate community around flat screen to VR modding. It's understood that VR is the future of gaming. After all, why develop the Steam frame? It's had, frankly, the incredible foresight to recognise that its back catalogue of flat-screen games that are currently being modded for VR enthusiasts is the place where it sees the most growth in gaming. Otherwise, the Steam frame makes no sense. Valve has leveraged this small but significant corner of its games catalogue and decided to move forward with a VR headset. In addition, it's been very clever with where it's marketed its offering. It's not saying that it's all the bells and all the whistles, but it's saying it will do this and it will be enough. It will play these games at an acceptable resolution, at an acceptable frame rate. Yep, you can also play flat games on it too. Not something that interests me, but hey, whatever lights your candle. Valve are the sleeping giant of gaming. They stand to reap the rewards of everything that's in their back catalogue, and they can do it through the Steam machine, but more importantly for us and this channel, the Steam frame. If this goes well for Valve, it will just get bigger and better. If Steam frame headsets sell out, scalpers notwithstanding, then that will send Valve a signal that can't be ignored. And one wonders what delights await us VR players in the depths of the Steam games catalogue. At this point, even though the Steam machine and the Steam frame aren't the most powerful things available to us as gamers, their offering is so very compelling that this VR race they've embarked upon is theirs to lose. I, for one, think this is the very start of a brand new era for Valve and Steam. And it won't be long before Microsoft and Xbox raise an eyebrow and cast a glance over at what Valve are doing with the Steam lineup. And one has to ask, as Asha Sharma seems to have her finger on every single pulse available to her, is it really a stretch to imagine a Microsoft headset that will be joined at the hip via Xbox Game Pass, thus effectively emulating exactly what Steam are doing with their catalogue? As far as business moves go, it's a bit of a no-brainer. And the more competition there is in VR, the better for us, the gamers. But Xbox speculation aside, I'm looking forward to the Steam frame. I'm looking forward to the first reviews, and I'm looking forward to eventually getting my hands on the full suite of kit. And I hope at some point in the future very much to be able to bring my own thoughts to you, the viewers. So sit back and enjoy the speculation. I'm sure it will be a fun ride. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe and share. It really would help the channel. And until next time, bye-bye.